Hi guys, it's time for the fun bit. Let's go. So I'm just back from my holidays, hence the little suntan I've got and a bit of peeling on my nose. But while I was away, I received an email to say the car was accepted into Gravity down in Birmingham. I was there last year. The quality of cars was amazing and the show was pretty incredible as well. It was my first time there, so I thought I would enter the car in for this year, and luckily I got accepted. So it's gave me a bit of a deadline to get everything done. We're about 6 weeks away. Obviously most of the car has been made and it's just a case of bolting it all together now, apart from front splitter still to make and a couple of odds and ends to do, but mostly there. I've got a few things still to buy. I still need to get harnesses for the seats, and there's a few other odds and ends that I need to kind of pick up along the way. But today we're going to try and get the body kit started. So we've got the rear arches to fit, the side skirts and the front wings. So in this episode we'll try and get the car moved across here. I was going to do it just now, but the battery is dead, so just charging that just now. So we're going to move it across. We'll get the sides all done, both sides in this episode, and hopefully in the next episode we'll do the rear. Now the rear's got a little bit of work to it. Rear bumper and the diffuser and all the fins. It's going to take a little bit of time to kind of mark out, drill, attach them together. But once that's done, that's quite a bit of work done, and then we'll move on to the front in the episode after that, and we'll get the front bumper mounted and get the splitter designed and get that made out of carbon fibre. And we'll be very close at that point. Still got a little bit to do. I've got to modify the headlights, some of the interior parts, kind of tidy up all the little things. But yeah, 3 or 4 episodes, this thing should be ready to go. So yeah, let's go. Okay, let's have a little quick talk through this. If there's any new people to the channel, you'll maybe not know, but I have, if you go back about 7 years, 6 years, you'll see that I've kind of designed this myself using cardboard, foam, the DIY approach basically. And eventually I've got to actually making the parts. Now it took a long time. We were talking sculpting the part, then making it out of fiberglass, smoothing it, then painting it, and then making a mold of that, taking it off, taking all the polyfiller, all the foam, everything back off the car. Eventually I then used the mold to, I think these were the first molds I did, the rears. So I used the mold and I made a fiberglass version of it just to see if it would come out. It did. So then I made these carbon ones. So they're basically, unlike the carbon you buy, like so this boot lid, so that will have a carbon fibre layer with fiberglass backing on it. These are all pure carbon fibre, so there's 3 or 4 layers of carbon fibre in this, and it is super light, quite flexible as well. I can't remember the weight of these. I did take weights of them back then, but they're like 3 kilos or something. They're lighter than the metal I actually cut out the arch anyway. But yeah, these ones come out pretty well. The side skirts, I made a little mistake here, and see if you can see it. It's hard to see on the camera if you're seeing it or not, but there is a nice big strand of carbon fibre there, which just adds character now. So there's a lot of things still to do to these in terms of fitting, because obviously the OEM side skirt has got kind of fixings on here that push into these little holes here. Obviously I don't have these, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill these out. I'm going to put in the nut certs in here, and then that gives me 4 or 5 fixing points along the side skirt to fix. Obviously, again, same here, I won't have these raised fixing areas on the original side skirt, so I'll just need to adapt something to get a couple of fixings into there. And I think the OEM one's got some glue kind of round about this area here, so I'll maybe put some glue in. So the side skirt will be the second thing to go in. The first thing needs to be the arch, because that needs to bolt in there. So that more or less fits like an OEM arch. Couple of bolts up the top, that'll be it fitted. And then I'll go into the side skirt, put that on. Now the side skirt sits lower than the OEM one. It's got this chunky bit at the bottom. So where the OEM one would bolt into the underside of the sill there, I'll need to bring in little risers and to get the bolt through. But this all still needs to be trimmed at the back here, trimmed to make it fit. And then after that, we're onto the rear arch. Now the rear arch basically will get bonded up this door seam here and along this seam along here. And maybe a little bit of bonding down this light here. So there's not actually any fixing pieces points for that. It'll all just be bonded on. Now it does need to, this bottom flat piece here goes onto this side skirt. So I need to get some fixing, maybe 3 fixing points along. Again, I'll probably put inserts into this, and then I'll core holes at the bottom of this side skirt so I can get a socket up to connect them together. So still a little bit of work to be done in this video. You just see it sits somewhere like that. Now, as I said, I am a DIYer. This was all just from watching YouTube videos and a stupid idea I had in my head. So it'll take a little bit of time to get right. And I've also got to cut this wheel here. Maybe leave about 1 centimetre on it and cut it back so the wheel can go up into that a little bit. And I think this needs trimmed slightly. That sits against this body line here. So that kind of dictates where the arch is sitting out. So I'll cut a little bit off that to give me a little bit of play for when I come to fit the rear bumper. And again, the rear bumper will need joined onto there. So unlike the professionals that would think about these things at the start, where fixings are going to be, I just cracked on with it and thought I'll figure it out at this point. So yeah, wish me luck. Right, it's the school holidays, so I'm going to get my assistant to help me here. Try and attach this door. Okay, let's have a look at this together. Seems to possibly be a little tight. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's catching in there a little bit. Which it didn't do before, so I'm going to try and adjust the hinge a little bit to bring it up slightly here. Yeah, I think I'll just try and bring it up ever so slightly here and see if that helps just open that gap up a little bit. If not, I think, coming from memory actually, I think I maybe had this spaced out before. I think I had this packed out a little bit. Yeah, right, let's try that. We'll either try and adjust the door hinge that way a little bit and then pack this out just with a little 3 or 4 mil washer to bring that panel out slightly. Okay, rather than taking the door off, which I would need to do, I'm going to put a couple of little shims just in back there so I could lift the door. As you can see there, if I lift the door, I could put a couple of little shims in there and try it. So I've got these just little 2 mil washers, and I have cut a little slot in them just so I can slot it down over the thread and tighten it back up. And we'll see, that will give us 2 mil here, which might give us 4 up the other side, so that might be too much. But we'll try this first since it's quite easy. It saves taking the whole door off. Okay, that's the washer on the hinge, and I put a washer behind here just to keep this flush here. Now what I think's maybe happened, because this used to shut pretty well, is just with these being in storage they've moved slightly, so there's a bit of flex in it there. They've just kind of formed into a slightly different shape. So once I get the wheel off, I can get in behind here. I can put a little bracket in there just to basically keep that distance. It needs to move in or out just a mil or 2, and that'll stop the door just rubbing in that point and give you a more even gap. Now obviously the panel gaps aren't going to be perfect because we're working with kind of aftermarket carbon parts plus the parts I've made. So I'm going to get them as close as I can. This definitely seems to line up better here, although with the rubber seal now on the door it sits out a little bit there. So I'll need to have a look at that, see, because I never had the rubber seals on it before and it sat pretty good. But now the seals are, they're just holding it out ever so slightly. But yeah, that's something I can look into. I've still got a rubber seal to fit along the window and the actual window itself, and then do something with the door card on the inside. So but that's good. That lets us start at this point and lets us fit the side skirt now. We'll see where we're at with that. I've got this sitting on just now. I had to trim a little piece just up in here just to let it go back a bit. But as you can see, I've got maybe 3 or 4 mil gap here, so this still needs to go up. It is catching something, which I think is maybe around this side. I've got a torch here. Yeah, so if I can set the torch down here, just need to trim this a bit. I'm going to cut this down anyway, this area here. It's just oversized, so cut it from here, maybe arc it up here. And I've not got a fixing point here. So, sorry, I'm really creating a lot of shadows here. So, my plan is between these 2 points, I'll get a bit of carbon fibre and I'll just put a fixing point either side that'll bond these 2 pieces together. I'll make it removable, just be a kind of nut set or something again in here. So, that'll take care of that. And then obviously I'll have the fixings along the door sill. And then up here, I'll be able to put a few fixings in along here because this is going to be hidden by the rear quarter. So I'll get all my holes marked out and drilled out. I'll get a little bit of carbon fibre for here. And then I'll get my rear arch bolted through here with the holes underneath to reach the bolts. Once all that's done, it should be plain sailing from there, because once this is on, that kind of dictates where the rear arch is going to sit, and I tried it on a minute ago and it is pretty decent. So that should go quite quickly once I've got the side skirt all mocked up, get it fitted, get the arch fitted, then I've got the little 3-pillar carbon fibre covers here for the kind of windows. Oh, actually they look, I don't know, they look kind of strange, these. Obviously everything's been made at a different time. Now the weave is all going similar directions, but obviously this is made in a different country. It's a different type of carbon from this, and then obviously I've made, all the pieces I've made are similar carbon, but not everything's going to match colour wise. That's why I'm hoping the kind of graphics package will kind of take your eye off some of that. But yeah, quite happy with it. Just some of the stuff you use for the carbon fusion is a spray glue to hold the carbon onto the mould. Well, that's how I've been doing it anyway. And sometimes it just leaves a kind of a milky residue just from some angles. I've seen it now and again. When I've put the light on it, you can see a kind of cloudiness. You can see a wee bit around here. But it's not terrible, considering I've taught this myself. I'm quite happy with it so far. Right, let's get this all drilled and mounted up, and then we can get on with this. Okay, I've got these little carbon plates here, which are actually, can you see that? Man, the light sucks. There we go. I made key rings ages ago, little carbon plates with Z on them, so I've got some here, and what I'm going to do is use them as the backing plate to attach there and the side skirt, so that'll mount them solidly together. So I'm going to drill a couple of holes here, put some nut certs into them, and we'll see how it lines up. Drill a couple of holes, drill a few holes in that, and that'll attach it at that point, and then I'll work my way along the side skirt, just doing other nut certs until we get to the very end, and then we'll drill the holes in the bottom to attach it to the sill. Okay, here is the plan. I'm going to put 4 nut certs in the bottom of this. So what I'll do is I'll drill the 4 holes, hold it up, reach in and draw my 4 holes onto this that I can drill through it, and then through from the other side I'll drill bigger holes on the underside so I can get like the drill bit or the socket set up with the bolt to screw into this nut cert. Easy? Let's find out. Well, I'll take that. It's once it's bolted down, it's a pretty decent gap along here. The only thing I will need to do is it needs to go this way ever so slightly, and I think it's getting caught up just under here. So I'm going to take another little piece off of here, and then this should slide in the way a bit and just give a nice little, it's only supposed to be about maybe 5mm past the light, this kind of trim here. It's not too bad up the top, but out here it's a wee bit bigger, so once I get the light bolted in and that knocked over, that should tighten that up a bit. We're back, day 2. I'm going to try and get the car moved over now, and then I can sort out the bit underneath the side skirt and then move on to the other side. So let's go. Where's the car keys? Next challenge is get the car jacked up, wheels off, and put the jacks in a place that I can still access this side skirt, which might be pretty awkward, but yeah, it needs to be done, so that's what's happening. So I'm going to have to cut out a section on both sides here so I can in the future be able to jack it up, plus get the jack stand in on either side. So I'm just going to use this little kind of grinder saw that I can hook up to a hoover, and I'll buzz those bits off and then hopefully it'll fit in, fingers crossed. Right, this is the only way I can think of doing this. Got a bit of tape on the ground there. My laser, I'm going to put the laser up to where the screw hole is and mark it here and do that all the way along. And then once the side skirt's on, I can transfer this mark again with the laser back up onto the side skirt, and that should give me the position. And I'll just need to measure from there to here. So yeah, we know that's 20mm from this side of the sill to here, to the middle of the hole's 20. So once I've got everything in place, I can just measure from there and add the 20mm on. That should be okay there. So yeah, I'll maybe put a bit of tape on this as well. Should be before I screw this arch onto the side skirt, I've got this little rubber seal that I'm going to put round here, and it compresses quite thin, maybe down to 2mm, and it will just stop any grit or any other stuff coming in between these two. So. After a little bit of messing about, finally got it. I just had to unloosen these bolts under here just to let that slide. A little touch this way. Excuse I've just wiped it, but it's a bit streaky looking. So yeah, there we are. Now we just need to do it all over again for the other side. The bonnet line's not too bad. You always end up with a slightly bigger gap when you're putting aftermarket parts on, but it's not too bad. I've still got a little rubber bump stop to put under here to sweeten that out. I can start to see the vision. I'll probably still to make something for down here. I was planning on putting some sort of kind of fin to join this to the side skirt. We'll see how it looks. I've still got this panel to put on between these two to join them. So yeah. For me, I need to go and do the other side. For you, I'm sure it'll be done in like 2 seconds. It's the next day and everything's set up, and well, I love it. I've still to get the fixings for the bottom of the side skirt, so they will move out ever so slightly, just once they're secured up. Sorry, tripping over everything because this place is a bit of a mess just now. Obviously the boot lid's not actually fixed down into position yet, it's just sat down. But yeah, I'm happy with it. I think that'll do us for this video. Obviously everything's still a bit of a clean, but you get the idea. Right guys, so thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video, which is going to be the rear bumper, plus I'm going to bond these A-pillars on as well, get them done. So yeah, see you next time.